Broadcasting live from 83-degree humid downtown Cleveland. It's station WDWL TV, home of not one but two stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and an Oscar. Oh yeah, we're brought to you by Grumpy Vulture Productions. What the hell's this? No thank you. Get off my screen. Some advertisement. So, how are you doing today, Kathy? At least I can see again. Holy shit. That exam was brutal yesterday. Holy Christ. I don't think I went through an eye exam like that when they were looking to do my cataracts. Jesus Christ. You know, it wasn't bad enough. They do the first eye dilation. And you stick your head in that goofy machine. And, you know, they've got a light in there that's like right off the front end of a Conrail, you know, train engine. So I'm blinded the way it is. And she goes, I'm not satisfied with the dilation of your eyes. Oh, whoopee. So she has the nurse come in and put in stronger shit. So you go out in the waiting room and you sit for 20 minutes and my eyes are watering like I'm fucking crying. You know, and people are looking at you like, what the fuck's the matter with you? And I can slowly see my eyes getting more blurry and blurry. I couldn't read the sign across from me that had print like 2 inches tall. It was a blur. So they finally call me back, and in comes the doctor. And it's back with your head in that fucking, you know, put your chin in there, put your head up against there, look straight ahead. And I'll tell you what, that goddamn light seemed brighter. Now, maybe because my eyes were probably dilated, you know, the size of hubcaps. And she just keeps going in a circle, you know, and then it's look up, look down, look right, look left. And she was just constant in that right eye. And it was to the point I was about ready to tell her, hey, give me a break for Christ's sake. So she finally gets done examining, and she goes, I can't do the laser treatment. I was like, what? Well, the laser that she's trained on is not strong enough to take care of all the scar tissue that's in this right eye. She had to refer me actually to my cataract surgeon, who does a YAG or a GAG laser. That's all she kept saying, YAG or GAG. Although GAG, I wanted to do. I'll tell you what. I have been to many opticians, ophthalmologists, you name it. 3 different female. This was a new one because the one I saw 2 years ago was on vacation. I wish I would have brought some breath mints. She's like this close to my face, and this woman had the worst breath. I wanted to tell her, you know, you need a breath mint or you need to chew some gum because your breath could knock a buzzard off a shit wagon. Holy Christ, I was holding my breath and holding my breath, trying not to breathe. So it boils down that there is severe scar tissue around the implant, and it has to be done by this super high power fucking laser. So she goes, I'm going to refer you, to Dr. Stevenson. Good. Do it quick. I need the fastest appointment possible. And she's like, what's the big hurry? I said, the end of October, I have to take my eye test for my driver's license. I have nobody to drive me if I flunk my driver's license test. So she goes, okay. So I go out to the appointment desk, and the girl goes, the earliest appointment I have is August 29th. I said, I'll take it. She goes, I didn't even give you a time. I don't care. I'll take it. Well, then I find out this is just the consultation. So, luckily, I already know this doctor because he did both eyes. And I'm going to explain to him, I need this done ASAP. Whatever this YAG or GAG laser is, I forgot to look it up today. But the laser that she had in her office is not strong enough to take care of whatever is wrong with my fucking eye. I did not expect that. I thought for sure I'd be sitting in the chair, couple of blitzes, and I'd be done. Nope. Although, my luck. So, luckily, I had scheduled the eye appointment earlier, because I had to see my primary care after the eye exam. Well, it was running over. Her nurse comes in and says, we got a message from Dr. Canary. He's running behind on his appointments. Good. Because here's how asinine this system is. I had 2 appointments. I register for the first appointment. I can't register for the second because it's too early. So after the eye appointment, I have to come back down to the first floor, stand in line again to register for the second appointment. I get registered. I get up to the third floor, and I have to take a leak. And the way my luck runs, I would be in the men's room. They would be calling my name, and they'd go, Whoopi's not here. Talk about perfect timing. I no sooner stepped out of the men's room, and the nurse goes, Mr. Grumpy, right here, right here. I'm coming out of the men's room. I'm right here. I was like, holy shit. Then, now, anybody that's had their eyes dilated knows this routine. You get these stupid fucking things. I forgot to bring sunglasses. So you get this stupid shit. That's what you have to walk around with. It ain't worth shit. I felt like a blind person. The nurse is like, follow me. I'm like, where are you? And she thought I was kidding. And I said, I can't see. I had my eyes double dilated, and I can't see even with these stupid fucking things on. So, I get in to see my primary care. Oh yeah, when they hand you these, you know, they're rolled up, you peel the cardboard off and you're like, you gotta be kidding me. I'll tell you what, I needed at least 3 of these. So, I get into my primary care, and, you know, in he comes with his laptop and he goes, how are you doing today? I said, you tell me. He goes, well, how you doing? I said, well, let me give you the old adage. You are never sick until you go to the doctor. Now, I am feeling pretty chipper considering I can't see you. He goes, why can't you see me? Take the sunglasses off. I said, if I do, I won't be able to see anything because I just was at the ophthalmologist. He goes, okay, leave them on. I planned on it. So he's looking at his laptop and he goes, well, I have good news and I have bad news. Give me the good news first. Your cholesterol has really come down. You are actually kind of below the normal level. So the cholesterol medication is working. I said, wonderful. I'm not going to die from cholesterol. Give me the bad news. Well, you're showing as being pre-diabetic. I said, what? I said, I only use sugar in my coffee. Well, it's something else you're eating. What do you eat a lot of? I said, well, I love white rice. Plain. He's like, oh, Jesus. Do you know rice is pure sugar? I said, what? I said, all them goddamn Japanese and Chinese people eating rice all the time and they're not diabetic? He goes, well, they have a different diet than you. Lay off the rice. Oh, wonderful. Then I get hell. I see you canceled the appointment with the nutritionist. Yeah, I don't need that shit. Well, you're going. I'm making another appointment. Fuck. It's bad enough one doctor told me I can't eat what I want. Now I'm going to have another one tell me I can't eat. I said, what am I going to eat? Cardboard and water? Oh, she'll give you a good diet. Okay, is that the rest of the bad news? He says, no. It actually gets a little worse. Oh, fuck. I'm dying. I said, I felt good walking in the door. Now you're going to make me feel like I need to make funeral arrangements. I made that as a joke, but he didn't laugh. So I says to him, what else? He says, well, I'm making an emergency appointment. Emergency appointment? He goes, let me finish. Okay, you're making an emergency appointment where? With a urologist. I said, I don't need to see a urologist. I don't have no UTI anymore. He said, well, no, you don't. Then what the fuck am I seeing a urologist for? He said, well, according to your PSA, I was like, oh, here we go, the old PSA. He said, you are at serious risk right now, and about a 65 to 70% of prostate cancer. Oh, fuck! Wonderful! Got any more good news? He goes, well, the urologist will be doing a biopsy. What? I'm requesting an immediate biopsy. I have also sent all this information to your oncologist. Okay, I'm seeing him next month. No big deal. Have you got any more bad news? No, otherwise you're doing fairly well. Oh! I'm breathing. I'm walking. I'm doing fairly well. As of about an hour ago, I still don't have the appointment, the emergency appointment with the urologist. So, I did a little research on how they do a prostate biopsy. I don't want one. First of all, I love this. Reading the paragraph that says how to prepare for a prostate biopsy. Give yourself a good enema. What? You gotta be fucking kidding me. That's what the first thing said. The rest of the biopsy scared the fuck out of me. Because they stick this big giant camera up your ass, and then they have to take tissue samples across the prostate. And the rectal cannon fires needles. That's what it said. It fires needles into the gland. Oh boy, I can hardly wait. They said, you will be lightly sedated. No, I'm going to be heavily sedated. No. And then it says, even though you're sedated, you might feel a little discomfort. They lie like fuck when they say a little discomfort. I don't know anybody that's had this done, but boy, I'll tell you what, I'm going to start calling a lot of my friends and find out if anybody's had this routine done. A little discomfort. First, they're going to stick a garden hose up your ass with a camera in it. And then it has firing needles. That's what it said. They're going to fire needles. And they have to take at least 10 samples. Oh boy. Hey, Vlad's here. How you doing, buddy? You missed all the fun medical bullshit that I had to go through yesterday. And that I'm not looking forward to. Yeah, I can't wait for the camera to go up my ass and fire needles into my prostate, where I may suffer a little discomfort. And then, after the biopsy, you got fucking blood everywhere. You piss blood, you shit blood, but it should go away after a few days. Oh boy! Jesus Christ! I felt pretty good walking in the door. When I walked out, I felt like a blind man that needed to call a coroner. And then, oh Jesus Christ, when I stepped out the door and I got out from underneath the overhang that was shading the doorway, I could not fucking see the cars in the parking lot. I'm like, how the fuck am I going to get home? I can't see. Luckily, my buddy was home and his wife drove him out so that he could drive me home, which was another load of fun because he hasn't driven a manual in about 50 years. I think he stalled it about 6 times. I was about ready to tell him, I'll drive, you steer. And call whether I have to hit the gas or the brake. I literally, when I got in the car, wrapped my head in a towel because my eyes hurt from the light so bad. I didn't want any light whatsoever. Of course, we're driving along. I'm like, hey, Freddie, save my clutch already. He goes, well, I haven't driven a stick in 50 years. Okay, be easy on it. Oh, don't ride it. Oh, man. Although I did extremely thank him for getting the car home, because I don't know how it got out of there. Because even after midnight, I still couldn't fucking see. The TV, I could see shit moving. I couldn't tell you if it was a human or Sasquatch. I just listened to the sound. Woke up this morning, had a hell of a headache, which the optometrist told me it could be possible. It was. It was like somebody hitting me in the middle of the forehead with a hammer. It finally subsided a little around between 12:30 and 1 o'clock. So you walk in the hospital healthy and you walk out having to make out a will. Jesus Christ. Although my primary did try to soften it a little bit by saying a PSA test isn't 100%. It's a guide. Okay. So I says to him, does that mean when I go to the urologist and he sticks his finger up my ass, I might not have to go through the biopsy? He goes, could be. I've never looked forward more to having somebody stick their finger up my ass. Because I don't want a garden hose with a camera that fires needles. Oh, reading that is brutal. Absolutely, that test sounds brutal. I don't care if you got anesthetic or not. It sounds brutal. The good thing is it's done in the office and I don't have to go to the fucking main, because I already informed all of my doctors I'm not going to the Taj Mahal. No. You figure a way of doing it at Parma or 150th. I'm not going to the Taj Mahal at all. Period. So that was my wonderful day yesterday. With my memento of my eye appointment. These goofy things. I walked in the house and I said, well, let me sit down at the computer. Now, everybody knows that I've got this 43-inch curved screen gaming monitor. It was one giant blur. And luckily, my buddy helped me in the house because I said to him, I need to send an email. I started to dictate who to send it to, and what to put in it. Because even if I'd had my nose against the screen, I couldn't have seen shit. So hopefully he sent it the way I dictated it, because I didn't read it this morning. Well, if I'd have dropped over dead, I think that's the worst it could have got. I'll tell you honestly, I walked in there feeling really good. Only worrying about my eye. That's all I was worried about. And, I made the joke to my primary care. You tell me, because a person is never sick until they see the doctor. Now, the one thing I can thank him for is he don't soft soap nothing. Him and I had an understanding from the first meeting. Don't toy with me. I'm a big boy. I can take whatever you're going to... If I can take a diagnosis of stage 4 plus cancer, I can handle anything. Give me it. Straight. No soap. Nothing. Give it to me. He did. Although he tried to ease it a little bit, going, well, just because you have high PSA levels doesn't necessarily mean, But, on the other hand, I am looking forward to having somebody stick their finger up my ass. And I'm looking forward to him going, okay, the test was a little off. Thank you. Be my luck, I've got a prostate gland the size of a coconut. Although, like I told my primary, when my levels during my UTIs were elevated, I researched the shit out of it, which they hate to hear. WebMD, Cleveland Clinic, Mayo Clinic, they hate to hear that shit. And I told them, I don't have any of the symptoms. And believe me, there is a list of symptoms. I said, I don't have any of that. So, I personally don't think that little gland is enlarged, but I'm not a doctor, and I don't play one on YouTube. But it was not what I wanted to hear. Especially after reading 3 full volumes of celebrity death certificates. But true to the adage, you're not sick until you see the doctor. Oh, my cholesterol is down. Oh boy. It's actually below normal. And I can't understand how, because boy, I do not follow a low cholesterol diet. But like I told the doctor, I've got 4 pounds of imported Japanese rice that you're telling me I can no longer eat. Yeah, 4 pounds. I guess I just won't eat it as often. Because I told him, I said, I like sometime to sit down with just a plain bowl of rice. Nothing on it, period. Just like some Japanese person. You know, watching food noodles, though I don't understand how every goddamn Japanese person isn't diabetic. They wolf down bowls of white rice. I mean, I watch in some of those little restaurants, you know, the guy will have a bowl the size of a garbage can, and then he goes back for a refill. And they're not diabetic? What the what the hell? I don't understand it. Because my doctor said diabetes is it's hardly prevalent in Japan. They're wolfing down pounds of white rice. How can it not be prevalent? It's a rarity, he was telling me. In Japan, it's a rarity. In America, if I eat a bowl of rice, whoa! I don't understand it. Maybe they have a completely different metabolism. I don't know. But watching them people in them restaurants wolf down bowls of white rice and they're not diabetic? It amazes me. Because he said, you know, rice is like pure sugar. What's so different about our metabolism versus theirs? Maybe since they've been eating it since birth? And you know, a lot of Japanese people live to be over 100. And they're still wolfing down bowls of white rice. And the rice that I've got is from Japan. It's not American rice. Because American rice is completely different than Japanese rice. Don't understand it. Do not understand it whatsoever. So, hopefully, we get the old yag, gag, mag, whatever the hell she call that laser. And it takes care of the eye so that I can get a clean driver's test. I don't understand. You know, Kathy, it makes no sense. Well, you know, like I told the doctor, it's not like I eat it nightly. I don't eat a lot of candy because it's too fucking expensive. Now, diabetes does run in the family. My father's mother was diabetic, and she ended up losing both legs and going blind. But neither, my father wasn't pre-diabetic. As far as I know, my two sisters have no problem. And boy, my little sister, she loves candy. Holy shit. All right, what did I do with the... I printed... Let me see if I can... I don't know if they're here or if... I printed all them fucking test results. That's not it. Here we go. Let's see if there's an A1C in this, all this bullshit that I printed out. See, the thing that amazed me is 99% of my shit was in the green, and it was in the low ends of the green scales. Oh, I didn't read this one. A1C, normal range 4.0 to 5.6. I'm 5.9. Estimated average glucose, milligrams per DL, whatever the hell that is, 123. Okay, I'm a little high. But not that much. I mean, 5.6 to 5.9. I could see if I was off the scale, but yeah, from 4.0 to 5.6 is normal. I'm at 5.9. I don't consider that high. He did. He said you're in the pre-diabetic range. All these goofy TSH, whatever the hell TSH is. I'm in the green. Cholesterol total 138. HDL 30. I'm way below there. Total HDL 4.6. Normal range below 5.0. Non-HDL 109. If you're below 130, you're good. LDL HDL ratio 2.93. If you're below 3.57, you're good. The only thing that was a little high was my triglycerides. God, there are pages of fucking test results. Although they did take about 50 gallons of blood. But everything is in the green. Nothing's in the yellow. Except for My PSA. Brr. White blood count, green, in the green. Red blood count, in the green. Hemoglobin, in the green. Hematocrit, in the green. HCV, in the green. MCH, in the green. MCHC, in the green. Platelet, in the green. RDWCV, in the green. MPV, in the green. Neutrophilus, in the green. Neutrophilus, in the green. Why do they have that twice? I don't know. Lymphocytes. Man, I'm a little low, whatever lymphocytes are. Supposed to be 24 to 44 on 15.9. Okay, that one's a little out of whack. Monocytes in the green. Eosinophil in the green. Basophilus in the green. Everything in the green. The only thing that's a little out of whack is the A1C and the PSA and the SOB and whatever. Because I looked at all these before I went to, to the doctor, and I was like, oh, I look pretty good. Not. Because I print all this shit out so that, trying to look at it on the screen. So I printed all these pages, and 98% of this shit's in the green, but I'm not healthy. Although I'll tell you what, he made that appointment for the nutritionist after I canceled it. I'm going to cancel it again. Because I'm not going to go to a doctor that's going to give me 57 pages of shit I can't eat. I'll be eating cardboard and drinking distilled water at their rate. Even my weight is normal. Although to me, I feel a little heavy, but I would like to take off about 20 pounds. Although the doctor said, you're right in range. You're good. When I told him I'd like to lose 20 pounds, I thought he was going to shit himself. What? You'll be too thin. I said, yeah, but when I was at 200, I felt great. At 220, I feel heavy. He's lucky I like him. I mean, he's a pretty cool doctor. And he's the type, I can understand why he was running behind. He was about an hour behind, which worked out great because I went over like 45 minutes with the eye appointment. He will answer every single question you ask. He doesn't do any of this shit. I hate a doctor that looks at his watch. Oh, I'll go right through the roof. Because I've had a couple. And the first time they look at their watch, I'm like, what's your fucking hurry? I'm not done. I've got questions. You've got answers. Quit looking at your watch. And, it's impossible to find a clock in a hospital. Back in the day, there were clocks in the wards, there were clocks in the rooms, there were clocks in the lobby. Not in these new buildings. And up on the 3rd floor, the 2 clocks that are on the wall haven't worked in 5 years. They're still stuck at 4 minutes to 3. I'm half tempted to bring a battery. There isn't a clock anywhere. I can understand why so many people are constantly, like me, checking their cell phone to see what time it is. And then with this registration, there are no longer women at the window. You used to have women at the window. You'd walk in, they'd slide the glass. Can I help you, sir? No. The windows are closed and they have blinds. There's no receptionist. Nowhere. Either a nurse or your doctor will call you back. That's how short-staffed they are. And then when the nurse took my vitals, she came back in with a manual machine. She said, Doc doesn't like the automatic reading. He wants me to take it manually. I said, that's the way it should be done. And I said to her, that's the way you learned in nursing school, wasn't it? You didn't have a machine. You took it manually. You learned how to read that the spaghettiometer. She said, yeah, and I prefer, but to speed things up, they used the automatic. Doc didn't like the reading. When she came in, it was way lower than the machine, which goes to tell you something. You can't trust them machines. Oh, I agree 100%, Kathy. Like with him running late yesterday. If there'd have been clocks on the wall, people would have been jumping up and down. Although people were checking their cell phones. Now, when she took the manual reading, it was very close to the reading my little wrist cuff machine gave me first thing in the morning. And this was after the eye appointment. But see, too many doctors go by them machines. And that machine showed me at an elevated blood pressure level, which I thought, because of the eye appointment, when she came in manually, she did it twice just to make sure. And it was within a couple of points. And when she went out, the doctor was happy. Because, I know why, because I'm on blood pressure pills. So, he didn't want to bump the prescription knowing that maybe the reading was wrong. And I told the nurse yesterday, every doctor I would see. They would take vitals when you walked in, when you sat down in the waiting exam room. Not anymore. They didn't take vitals when I went in for the eye. When I go to my pain management, they don't take vitals anymore. The only place they take vitals is with my primary care. None of my other doctors. None of them. Because they have eliminated so many nurses. They don't have the staff to do it. It's sad seeing all those machines sitting in a room and they don't use them. Very rarely. And like I told my eye doctor and the nurse and my primary care, ever since they built the Taj Mahal, services suck. They really do. I said, this hospital is slowly going downhill. And I hate to see that because Metro is an excellent hospital as far as I'm concerned. My opinion. But services are less and less and less. Perfect example. My financial review that I have to do annually. You used to go into an office and a girl did all the paperwork and you got either your approval or your denial right there. Not anymore. All the satellite offices closed. Everything is done at the main, either by paperwork or on my chart. I refused to do it on my chart because I didn't want to fuck it up. My paperwork, who knows, it could be sitting in a stack 3 foot high. I haven't heard anything. Now, so far, all my medical is covered. But waiting for that approval to know that I'm good for another year is kind of making me nervous with all the shit that I have to get taken care of. And hopefully they're not going to be plunging a garden hose up my ass. I left that goddamn building yesterday really feeling down. I walked in a good mood. I walked out going, Jesus Christ. And, you know, it don't make it any easier living alone because you got nobody to discuss it with. I can't discuss it with Mary Ann. Holy shit. She'll be back behind the garage picking weeds and boiling me potions. And then, you know, I got to go up to get the highway patrol inspection done. And, you know, of course, 85 degrees today. That's the last thing that has to get done for the filing. And I want to get it filed, but I'm not going to drive up to the highway patrol station sweating my balls off. But I can't get the windows fixed until the car's legal. I can't get my spare key cut until the car's legal. So I made the decision. I'm not going to take a chance using the phony license plates that are on the car right now. The inspection form states you can drive the vehicle without license plates on that form that I paid for. I'm going to stick one of these on the back. And if the Highway Patrol asks me why I have these phony license plates, I'm going to tell them. It would be my luck, I would get stopped and towed, even though I'm coming up here for an inspection with a form that said I can drive on this form. At least anybody glancing at the vehicle will go, oh, okay, it's got a license plate. Watch the goddamn Highway Patrol. It's going, all right, we're going to cite you for that phony plate. Well, better that phony plate than the phony plates I've been using. Not to mention, I still got the RAV4 sitting in the backyard. I can't junk that vehicle until I have a title for the Passat, because if this goes into November, I have to renew them license plates, and I need that vehicle and that title in order to get my new sticker to keep the Passat illegal, if that makes sense. The Life of Grumpy. They could write a sitcom about me. Yeah, the last time I had, well, that was when I had my cataracts done. When I went into that office, there was a receptionist. You walked up to the window. But see, the way it works, when you register downstairs at the main desk, they send by computer a message to the doctor saying, Mr. Grumpy is here. Then they assume you're in the waiting room or the waiting area. Which, boy, I heard her call my name just as I was coming out of the men's room. I'm here, wait a minute. As I'm feeling my way around the building. Luckily, somebody got in the elevator with me because I couldn't see the buttons. And they're not 1, 2, 3. They're spaced all over the place. I'd have been hitting all of them. What floor is this? 2? Okay. Am I on 3 now? I couldn't see a goddamn thing. My doctor was a big blur. Everything was a big, oh man, when I stepped outside, holy shit. It was like the sun was right in front of me. It was that, oh. As a matter of fact, I went into the lobby and I saw a person in a chair. Didn't know if it was male or female. And I said, "Excuse me, I have a bit of a problem." And I heard this sweet little voice say, "What do you need?" And I handed her my cell phone. I said, "I can't see, dear. I need you to call this person." I said, "The phone's unlocked. Just hit contacts. Call that person." So she called, hit the button. And luckily, my buddy was home. And I told him, "I can't see. I need you somehow to get here to drive me home." And then I told him, "In a manual." He was like, "Oh, God, I haven't driven a manual in 50 years. I said, "Well, we're in for a treat." And luckily his wife was home because usually she's out bebopping around. I offered him $20 for her gasoline. He wouldn't take it. But boy, it was an interesting ride home between leapfrogging and riding the clutch. Then I really pissed him off. I said, "Can you back the car in the driveway?" He was like, "Oh, God." I said, "I have a backup camera." He goes, "I'm not worried about the backup camera. I'm worried about backing up." I said, "Well, if you have to pull in," he goes, "No, I'll get it in the drive." It's in the driveway, kind of cockeyed. But it's there. And then, my dumb ass, I leave the side door wide open. When I came in the door, I should have locked it. It was wide open all night. Anybody could have walked in here and helped themselves to whatever they wanted. I couldn't cook. I couldn't microwave. So dinner last night was potato salad. That was it. It's the only thing that I had that was... I didn't dare try cooking anything. I'd have set the house on fire. So needless to say, I'm a little hungry tonight. So I decided no doom and gloom tonight. The big book can wait till tomorrow. So if anybody was looking forward to some more doom and gloom, I really could. I don't want to go up or down. Man, that must have been a goodie. It didn't want to go up, it didn't want to go down. Yeah, another problem. Since when he removed that tumor, it he told me it left kind of like a little pocket in my asparagus. And I get phlegm buildup, and every now and then, it overflows. I know everybody loves to hear that, but I'll tell you, there is, and she's got to be in her late 60s, early 70s. There is a blind woman. I don't know where she lives. I see her walking her dog when I go up to Mark's. Now, yes, the dog is trained, but I give that woman a lot of credit. Rain, shine, sleet, snow. She is walking her dog twice a day. And people that know her say that basically she lost her sight when she was a teenager. She was involved in an auto accident, had a head injury, and it caused her to lose her sight. She walks that dog blocks, not just around the block. She will go like 3 or 4 blocks, and then 3 or 4 blocks, twice a day, no matter what the weather. I have seen her out there trudging through the snow, walking that dog. Now she has a red and white, it's a pole. I mean, it's higher than she is. And I think it's because she wants people to see. Although nowadays, how many people know what that means? How many people know what that means? I would say probably nobody. Because blind people like hardly exist nowadays. And if they do, you don't really see them with those canes. But hers is like 6 foot tall, red and white. It looks like a candy cane. And she constantly walks with, but the average person have no idea what the fuck that, okay, she's got a candy cane, well, it's not striped. I mean, it's got a red and then white and a red and a white. It's not like a candy cane. People have no idea. Because I don't even think they teach that in school. Yeah, our generation, definitely. Because I remember being taught that in grade school. If you see a person with a red and white cane, that means at that time they blind. Now they call them what? Visually impaired, because blind is a stigmatism. They're visually impaired. But when you come down to it, how many visually impaired people do you know? I know her by seeing her. I don't know her. But I also know the meaning of that red and white stick she carries. Not to mention the big sign on the dog that says guide dog. But if people don't see that sign, they have no, okay, here's a woman walking a dog, carrying a big red and white stick. When I worked at the courthouse, there was a concession stand in the basement that was run by the Society for the Blind. And everybody that manned that concession stand was sightless. And I got to know Mel. Mel was a hell of a character. And I used to fuck with him. Because people, when they would get up to the cash register, they'd say, Mel, this is a 20, this is a 10, So I give him 5 and I tell him a 10. And he'd go, don't fuck with me. This ain't no $10 bill. And it amazed me. But he said that singles, 5s, 10s, 20s, 50s were like a micro thickness different. A micro thickness. He could feel the bill and know whether it was a single or a 5 or a 10 or a 20. Because you'd give it to him and he'd feel it. But people were, honest and say, Mel, that's a 10, I used to like to screw with him. And he would tell me, that ain't no 20. Quit fucking with me. It's a 10. Mel, just fucking with you. He says, well, I'm always ready for you because I know your voice when you come in the door, But it was amazing. He said each bill had a different thickness. And if you take, now I don't know if they do it today, but if you would take an old bill and you would have a single and a 5 and a 10, and you're feeling them, they all feel the same. But he said you could feel the difference. I remember one day, Mel lived in Lakewood. And he used to get off the Rapid at 117th in Detroit. And he would walk home. I can't remember what street he lived on. Well, one day, I just happened to be driving down Detroit. And I see Mel walking back towards 117th. Now, I knew at this time of the day, he was going home. So I pull around the corner, and just as he got to the street where I was at, I was like, Mel, where are you going? He said, I'm going back to 117th. I said, why? Are you going back downtown or what? He said, no. I lost count of my steps. I was like, how did you do that? And he said, I ran into a car. Well, there was a used car lot. And the guy had one car that was about 2 feet over the line. And as Mel was walking, he ran into that car and he lost count of his steps. So I said, Mel, where do you live? I'll take you home. And he told me, and I took him home. And he told me when he got off the rapid, he started counting steps. And I can't remember how many steps it was to his front porch. And every day he would walk down the street. Nobody knew any difference. But he ran into that car, and it startled him, and he forgot how many steps he took. And he was going to go back to the rapid station and start counting again. And I said, Mel, I'll take you home. He was an amazing character. He really was. He had a great personality, had a crazy sense of humor. Because when they would close up for the day, there was a van in the parking lot that would take them downtown to get on the rapid. So when he would step out of the van at Public Square, he knew how many steps it was to get to the rapid. And then he had a pass. So when the rapid would come, he'd show his pass, he'd get on the rapid. When he got out, he started counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's the way he knew, like, I don't know, 2,000 steps, and he'd make a right because he was at his street. And then 502 steps to his front porch, and he knew he was home. Can you imagine walking along counting each step and not being able to see? Mel was from birth. Mel actually didn't have any pupils. His eyes were white. His eyes never formed. Because he always wore heavy sunglasses. And one day he took the sunglasses off to wipe his eyes, and it scared the shit out of me. It looked like something out of a monster movie. He had no pupils. His eyes never formed. They were just white eyeballs. Because I did a double take. I was like, holy fuck. But he wore, man, they came right around, so you couldn't see. They had to be special sunglasses. Because he never took them off. But that day, evidently, his eyes were watering or something. He took the glasses off and he was... They're like, holy shit. Because one day he was sitting out in the little dining area and he was reading a book. And a Breal book is unbelievable. Because first of all, there's no print. It's all little dots. And he'd be reading along. Mel was a hell of a guy. He really was. There was a guy, Hank, that worked with him. The guy kind of had a chip on his shoulder. So I didn't talk to him much, but Mel, him and I had chat all the time. Even more so after I took him home that day. Every time he'd thank me, thank me, thank me. I'm like, Mel, hey, I didn't want you to walk all the way back to the rapid station. You wanted to get home, for Christ's sake. I always wanted to see the inside of his house. Now, I know he had furniture. I always wondered, did he have a TV? Did he have a radio? You know, how the hell did he cook? Because he lived alone. I always wanted to see the inside of his house. I wanted to watch him. You know, how's he cooking? How's he doing this? How's he doing that? I bet you his light bill was cheap. He was a character, though. I always wonder what happened to him. You know, after I left the county. But you know, in a situation like that, when you're born that way, they say the other senses take over. You know, you have, they say touch, you know, is more sensitive, hearing is more smell is more, taste is more, all the other senses take over. But man, to get off of the rapid and count your steps all the way home, amazing. Absolutely amazing. But that woman that lives in the neighborhood, she usually, if I'm out between like 9 and 10, she'll be walking. And then if I go up to Mark's, like between 3 and 5, or 3 and 4, I'll see her walking. But every single day, no matter what the weather, and how, you know, how is she, like, you know, a lot of people don't clean their walks. I feel sorry for her trudging through snow, walking that, but that dog goes out religiously twice a day for a nice long walk. Beautiful dog. Beautiful dog. It's a matter of fact, I never saw a black German Shepherd with long hair. It's a long-haired shepherd. I don't know what, I mean, there's different variations in the breed, but it's got longer hair. It looks kind of fluffy, like the legs look fluffy. It's jet black, but you can tell it's a shepherd when you look at it. Beautiful dog. I'm going to have to try to talk to her one day. Although I might screw her walk up. I leave her alone. Well, Fatso, where's your buddy? You guys have been laying together. It's amazing. The two of them were laying in the window all day. He was facing one way, she was facing the other. And every time I go out in the kitchen, they were sleeping in that window. Evidently, she must have decided to let Boots in the window because, man, she has been throwing his ass out. Where's your friend? In the window? You're not answering. Okay, I know you want to eat. Let me make sure the volume's turned down first before I don't want to blow everybody away here. Yeah, they made a truce. But how long will it last? She can be a little bitch. All right, everybody. Thanks for putting up with my griping ass tonight. And we will meet again right here tomorrow night. And with that, everyone have a wonderful rest of your evening. Be safe. Take care. Bye-bye. See ya. See ya. Bye. Bye-bye-bye.